customers were asked, what seller behaviors make you more likely to buy? Or what do you wish your sellers would do? And look at what the buyer said. There were 4 things that were on top of both the lists. And these are these 4. First is understand my business. The buyer is saying, before you come to me, can you please just do this one thing? Know me, understand my business. And the point is that the buyer is saying is, which means we are not doing a good job of this. We still have salespeople who go meeting to meeting. And I know I have trained more than 10,000 sellers in the past 10, 12 years. And first thing I ask them is, what does your customer do? And they come up with some shoddy general answer to it. If you don't know what your customer does, you have no right to ask that customer for their business. I am that ruthless about this point. You should not have a right to ask for business if you don't know what your client does. Because what gives you the right to ask for business if you don't even know what they do? And it doesn't matter how big or small is your product, service, solution in their gamut of things. It really doesn't matter, right? Excellent communication. And I said it's not about the gift of the gab. So what is excellent communication? Excellent communication is when my buyer feels I'm talking to them. I'm using their language. I'm not talking my jargons. I'm talking to them in a language they understand. I am ensuring that there is empathy in the conversation. I'm ensuring that I can stand in their shoes, understand how they will be feeling, and then communicating to them. That's excellent communication. And most important, I take feedback. A lot of the sales management workshops that I do, I talk to sales leaders and I say, how frequently do you do win-loss analysis? Which is to say, every time you won a deal, you go back to your client and ask, why did you buy from me? Do you know why they buy from you? Because if you don't even know your strengths. How are you going to play on them? And every time they did not buy from you, do you go back to them and ask them, give me feedback. What did I do that you did not want to buy from me? And this is not about getting personal or emotional about it, but this is going to make me better. If I know why they didn't buy, I can plug those gaps. But we are so scared about asking our clients for feedback. We say, yaar, kyun poochna hai? Kyun panga lena chahte ho? Opening a Pandora's box. I don't want to touch it. They bought, that's fine. Let's not ask them why. But it is important because it will help us in excellent communication. The third one there is focus on post-sale. Now you'll say, well, we're talking about selling. Why is that focus on post-sale? Because you know what? We are in a risk-averse market. And in a risk-averse market, everybody is thinking about, what if it doesn't go the way you're telling me it will? What if it fails? What if the product doesn't work? What if the service is not what I wanted? Well, in that case, it is important for us to have a focus on post-sale. Provide perspective. Now, this is important. What is perspective? Perspective, in my mind, is expertise plus insight coming together. I see this a lot of times on LinkedIn. People go and share articles. HBR said this, whoever said this. Well, okay. If I wanted to read an HBR article, I could have read it on HBR. Why do I need you to share it? If you're going to share something that somebody else has written, please provide a perspective to it. Tell me what you liked about it. Tell me why you want me to see it. That's about providing an insight on it, basis your experience, basis your expertise. So if you look at these points, one thing for sure is, as sellers, our buyers are wanting us to put ourselves out there more than we ever had. They are saying, don't hide behind a brochure or a website or a content asset that you have. I want to know, who are you and why should I be listening to you? And you have to earn the right for that. So let's talk more about the buyer first mindset. And I've tried to kind of simplify it, but in my mind, the first thing is about positioning, right? Buyer first mindset is about the buyer, but it is also about your positioning, right? Where do you want to be in that? And, if you look at your target segment, your point of difference, which is your strengths, the frame of reference, what do your competitors give? Because we are never in isolation. Then you come up in that kind of sweet spot there. This is who I am. Now, it's important for us to understand, where do you sit at the cusp of that, where you see that ideal. How do you get there? Because that's your unique positioning. I've been in the services space for the past 20 years, and I've done sales training, enablement, been with the Miller Hyman group. And very often we used to have people who'd say, if I was selling my Miller Hyman workshop for 50,000 per person, there was somebody who was willing to do the same training for 50,000 for 20 people. See how different it is in terms of our price points. But the product is kind of similar. It's still sales training. So a lot of people would say, but why will I pay you that much money? Right? It's not that I don't like you. You must be saying all the right stuff. But tell me, why should I pay you that kind of money? Because it's so different. On one hand, I could have bought that for 50,000 rupees. And on the other hand, you're asking me maybe 20 times that price. I need to justify it as well, right? Which is where positioning becomes important. The second is context matters. And go back to that data which I shared earlier, which said, understand my business. Why do I want you to understand my business? Because context matters. You could be awesome for someone else. How do I know you're awesome for me? Do you understand my context? Do you know what's making my business churn their wheels? Do you know what's the pit spot for cash flow in my business? Do you know how I handle my supply chain? Do you know how I do procurement and how the commodity prices have impacted my margins? And you may have no product to do all of that, but still context matters, right? And the customer is living in that context. You may not be. And finally, personalization. And personalization is, if any of you've done market research, we talk about N, and you do a research and it says N is equal to 1,000, N is equal to 3,000. Nowadays, N is equal to 1. If you have tools like AI, use them to create personalized messages. You can tell ChatGPT, be a marketer selling this product to a decision maker in an automobile major, live with his plant in Chennai, doing this, create a message. ChatGPT will create the message for you. You don't even have to do it. But why would you create it for N is equal to 100 when tools allow you to do it N is equal to 1? Do it N is equal to 1, okay? Just in case you doubted all that I'm saying so passionately, I will give you data for everything I say. B2B buyers value ideas that are personalized, relevant, and engaging. And that's just as important as that, right? So I have a R5 that I've created so that it's easy for you to remember, but it is about talking to the right person about the right problem at the right time on the right platform, discussing the right outcome. And remember, the solution is nowhere here. We are not talking solutions, we are talking outcomes. But when we talk about buy-sell relationships, we talk about it on a hierarchy at 5 levels. Now, the level 1 is you deliver a commodity that meets specification. Vendor relationship. I could buy from you, I could buy from anyone else. No differentiator really, right? Second level is deliver good products and services. So there is a quality angle that's come in. So I say, okay, if I have to just buy, I can buy from anyone else. But if I have to buy a good one, I will buy from Chitra or Priya. Okay. Third level is provide good service and support. So now see the difference between 2 and 3. 2 is deliver. Domino's delivers in 30 minutes. Deliver is reactive. You order, they deliver. Provide, does Domino provide? No, it doesn't. Because provide is proactive. Provide is without asking. So provide good service and support, which means I go the extra step to provide to you good service and support because you're important for me. Now, ideally, I want to move up this hierarchy. So I move from provide to contributing to business issues. I'm talking to your business outcomes. Anything on everything that can be seen on a P&L statement is a business issue. Can I help you increase sale, reduce cost, improve margin? That's business issues. Organizational issues are strategy level. Can I help you get into a new market, a new customer base, a new pricing model? Right? Now, some people would say, oh, but my product is so transactional. I don't know if I can contribute to organizational issues. But you know what? This has got nothing to do with the product, by the way. This is you trying to build a relationship at a level where you earn a seat on the table. One more concept before we build a value statement is called anchoring. And now this is a neuroscience concept. All of us do it. And the concept is to say that the first piece of information that you get becomes the anchor for the future information you will get. So for example, you walked into a store and you saw a couch, 40,000 rupees, if not $400. After that, all the couches you look at, you will compare them to 40,000 rupees and say, is it expensive or is it cheap? This is the concept of anchoring. We always do that. You go into a vegetable market, you ask the rate of tomatoes, and the first guy says 150 rupees. Now everything is more or less than 150 because that first price point became your anchor. Why am I sharing this in customer conversations? Are you doing anchoring in your customer conversation? Because you have an opportunity to start early in your buyer journey engagement and become the anchor based on which they will compare all the other solutions that will come their way.